Thank you, everybody, for coming to the College Football Betting with Aaron Torres YouTube channel. If you could do me a quick favor, see that little subscribe button at the bottom of the screen. Go ahead, click that subscribe button. It helps our channel grow. It helps our audience grow. I appreciate it more than you know, as we're talking college football on this channel year round. Appreciate your support. Click that subscribe button. You look at the Big 12 standings, and you have 3 teams that are undefeated in league play, another 5 teams that have 1 loss. And oh, by the way, there's a couple teams that have good overall records that might have taken a loss or 2. But the game I'm talking about, you can see it on the screen. Arizona hosting Colorado. Arizona, a 3.5-point favorite against Coach Prime and the Buffs. The over-under going up, 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 up. It is at 58.5, opened at 55.5 to start the season, or to start the week, excuse me. So let's go ahead and dive in. I want to start with Colorado, right? Because I find the dichotomy with Colorado to be fascinating. Every time Coach Prime loses, oh, Colorado stinks. Oh, Colorado's terrible. They're overrated. Guys like you in the media, Torres, talk about them too much. Let's just take Coach Prime out of it and your opinion out of it, okay? And let's, by the way, take out, we've talked about 1-11 2 years ago, least talented roster in the country. But let's just talk this out. So Colorado last week was playing Kansas State. Kansas State was picked to finish 2nd in the league. Colorado picked to finish 11th. Now, I get that, stuff happens throughout the season, but Kansas State was in the top 20. Colorado loses, how about this? Travis Hunter early. Travis Hunter, in my opinion, I don't even think it's a debate. He's their best wide receiver. He's their best cover corner. You could argue he's the best cover corner in college football and maybe the best wide receiver in college football. Then they lose Jimmy Horn, their second leading receiver. Good news is they're both going to be back. But going back to last week, Colorado loses their top 2 receivers, their top corner. Shiloh Sanders, Coach Prime's older son who plays safety, was clearly not 100%. Coach Prime said point blank, he stunk tonight. And Shiloh's acknowledged it as well. But you're down to your best corner, your best 2 receivers. You can't run the ball because you're facing the best run defense in the Big 12. Shador, I thought, struggled because they couldn't run the ball. And you're still in position where you have the lead in the 4th quarter against a top 20 team to take the lead and win the game. And I would argue this too. If Travis Hunter and Shiloh Sanders are playing, they probably don't hit a 60-yard bomb in the 4th quarter late in that game. So that was a game I think Colorado could win. Coach Prime has said all throughout this week, we got arrogant, we got cocky, we didn't play our best football. I think you're going to get the best version of Colorado in this game. By the way, and I know I mentioned it, but I want to just repeat it. Travis Hunter, Jimmy Horn are expected back in this game. The counter to that, what the heck's going on in Arizona, man? And listen, Arizona's a team and a program that I talked about and covered a lot on the Aaron Torres pod last year. They were one of the best stories in college football. Jed Fish was there. I know he leaves, but 10-win season. And to the credit of the new staff, they were able to retain most of that roster. Came into the year ranked in the top 20, and they have just been a total mess, a total disaster. And I think what's frustrating for Arizona fans, there's just no consistency. One week the offense is great. One week the offense struggles. One week the defense is great. One week the defense struggles. But just look at Arizona's season so far. They're 3-3 coming into this one. They win week 1, giving up 40 points to New Mexico. Then week 2, they struggle to move the ball, beat Northern Arizona, get destroyed by Kansas State at home, beat Utah, or destroyed by Kansas State on the road, beat Utah, but that was a game without Cam Rising. Then they lose to Texas Tech. Then they get destroyed by BYU. But again, there's no rhyme or reason to anything. 41 points last week to BYU, 39 to New Mexico. Then you have games where you hold Utah to 10, you hold Northern. There's just no consistency. Unfortunately, and I don't mean this in any kind of condescending or mean-spirited way, one of the few consistent things is poor Noah Fifita cannot get right. And I don't blame him. I'll blame the coaching, because when he was with Jed Fish last year with that coaching staff, Noah Fifita was one of the best quarterbacks in college football. Last season, Noah Fifita, remember, he took over about 4 or 5 games into the year, completed 72% of his passes, 25 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. This year, completing 59% of his passes, 8 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. You feel awful. 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions a week ago at BYU. Now, BYU, a very opportunistic defense, is one of the best defenses in college football at forcing turnovers. but it doesn't change the fact that it is just a frustrating time at Arizona. And when I look at this game, I'm just going to be perfectly honest. I think the wrong team's favored. And I'll be honest, I don't think Vegas has really figured out what to do with Colorado. Because Colorado, remember, they were what, like a 6.5 point favorite against Colorado State, blew them out. They've covered 4 straight games. And even against Kansas State, 4.5 point home underdog, in position to win. They lose on a late field goal, but you or a late score, excuse me. But I just bring it up because you look at Colorado, they have essentially relatively easily covered the number in the last 4 weeks. And I just think transparently, I think the wrong team is favored in this game. You have a team in Colorado that took a bad loss, but to one of the best teams in the league. Okay. Maybe probably the best team in the league, actually, if we're talking about it, to be perfectly honest. Took a loss to the best team in the league. Okay. That was Kansas State. In a game where, as I said, out without your 2 best wide receivers, without your best cornerback, your safety's basically playing on one leg. Shedeur Sanders plays his worst game. Well, now I know you're going to Tucson, but Tucson right now, that fan base is down. I always like to look at ticket prices. You could get in for pretty cheap. They were selling out games at this time last year. They are not doing it right now. And you look at Colorado, they did not play their best game and still almost won. Arizona right now is not in a good place. I also think the matchups favor Colorado as well. Arizona, the way that you beat Colorado, you got to get pressure on Shedeur Sanders. They are not pressuring the quarterback right now, 66th in the country in tackles for loss. They do not have very many sacks. And it's worth noting their 2 best corners could be out for this game. Tacario Davis is, listen, Brent Brennan kind of beat around the bush in this, about this over the course of the week. So, he's not being totally transparent, but my buddy Jason Shear, who covers this team, I'll just read the tweet to you that he put out on Wednesday afternoon. Let's see here. Let me find the tweet. Should have had it. Judging by what Dwayne Aquina, who's the defensive coordinator, is saying, Tacario Davis is questionable. Marquise Groves Killebrew as well. Arizona is 1 injury away from having me play at cornerback. Does that sound like the team that's going to slow down Shedeur Sanders, especially when they don't have a great pass rush? So give me Colorado. I think the wrong team is favored. I could see it being high scoring. I could see a scenario where at home Fafita gets right and Arizona is able to put up, 27, 28 points. But I think the right side is Colorado plus the points. I think Colorado wins outright.